All right, let's talk about walking the nonprofit tightrope. Today, we're digging into the single most important principle that separates a real charity from a private business, something called public benefit. And trust me, if you get this wrong, the whole thing can come crashing down. So let me ask you this. What's the number one, absolute, must-follow rule that lets a nonprofit get and keep its tax-exempt status? It's the one idea that the entire world of charity is actually built on. And there it is. The answer is public benefit. Now, this isn't just some boring legal jargon. This is the gold standard, the legal and ethical test that proves an organization is genuinely out there serving the community and not just lining the pockets of a few people on the inside.
Okay, so to really wrap our heads around public benefit, we've got to draw a really clear line in the sand between serving the public and serving private interests. This is a distinction where a lot of well-meaning founders, believe it or not, can really stumble.
Here's the official definition. I want you to notice that word exclusively. It's everything. It means a nonprofit has to be set up and run for the one and only purpose of benefiting the community at large. It absolutely cannot be a secret vehicle for making its founders or their families rich.
Let's just break it down side by side. You see, public benefit, that's all about serving broad community needs, being accessible and helping everybody out. Private benefit, on the other hand, is the total opposite. It's when the nonprofit's work is really just a smokescreen to serve the personal or financial interests of the insiders.
Let's make this real. Imagine a nonprofit in the city of Murrieta that offers free literacy classes. The key here? It's open to any low-income adult who wants to sign up. The benefit flows out to the whole community, right? Better education, more opportunities. That is a perfect example of public benefit.
Now, let's flip that on its head. What if that same nonprofit only gave tutoring to the founder's own kids and their cousins? Now, even if they have a real need for it, the organization isn't serving a public purpose anymore. It's serving a private one. And that is a huge, huge problem.
This quote really gets to the heart of it. Of course, individuals are going to benefit from a charity. That's the whole point. A food pantry helps specific families. The crucial question the IRS asks is why? Is the main goal to help anyone who is hungry? Or is it to help a specific, pre-selected little group? That's the test. So knowing the difference is one thing, but actually avoiding the traps is a whole other ballgame. Let's get into the 3 major compliance pitfalls that can completely derail a nonprofit. Think of these as giant, flashing red lights. If you see any of these 3 things happening at an organization, it's a pretty clear signal that it might have strayed way off course from its public benefit mission. First up is private inurement. This is the big one, the most serious violation. In plain English, it's when a nonprofit's money or assets get funneled directly to an insider. Now, we're not talking about a fair salary for a job well done. We're talking about the organization's profits being used to personally enrich somebody. Next, we've got an excess benefit transaction. This one is a little more specific. It's when an insider gets paid way more than what their job is actually worth on the open market. You know, like paying the founder's nephew a 6-figure salary for a part-time gig that involves making copies. That would be a massive red flag.
And finally, there's self-dealing. This happens when an insider, like a board member, uses their position to do business with a nonprofit for their own gain. For example, a board member's construction company gets a no-bid contract to build the nonprofit's new office. And, surprise, surprise, the price is way over market rate.
Okay, so we've seen all the dangers. It sounds pretty scary, right? So how do you stay on that tightrope? Well, you need a good balancing pole. Let's look at the practical steps every nonprofit has to take. This is the question that every single founder and every board member should be asking themselves all the time. This is not a set it and forget it kind of thing. It's a constant commitment to the mission. In this checklist, this is your balancing pole. The core ideas here are independence, fairness, and always focusing on the mission. Things like having an independent board, having a rock-solid conflict of interest policy, and paying reasonable salaries, these aren't just suggestions. They are the essential practices that keep a nonprofit focused on its public mission and keep it worthy of the public's trust. Following the rules is absolutely critical, because if you fall off that tightrope, the consequences are severe. This isn't just a slap on the wrist. If you're just starting out, the IRS will just deny your application, flat out. If you're already established, they can revoke your tax-exempt status, which for most nonprofits is a death sentence. But it doesn't stop there. The people involved can get hit with huge taxes and penalties. And in the really bad cases, yeah, there can even be criminal charges. The stakes just could not be higher.
And that all brings us to this final, essential question. It's really a gut check for anyone involved in the nonprofit world. Is your mission truly honestly built to serve the public? Are you building an organization to solve a community problem? Or are you building it for other, more personal reasons? Because the answer to that question determines absolutely everything.